Now that the early spring flowering shrubs like azaleas, forsythia, quince, and lilac have pretty much finished their bloom season, the second round of shrubs, or the mid-spring flowering shrubs, are just starting to get in gear. And these plants that flower at this time bring a lot to the landscape. I think it's just a wonderful time of the year to be out, and there's something uplifting about seeing all the new trees and shrubs with their brand new array of flawless foliage for the new season. And the shrubs that flower at this time are important because they bring that extra amount of color. Well, I just want to show you some of these shrubs, and to start with, look at this one right here. This is the Weigela, sometimes pronounced Weigela. You see both pronunciations written in the text, so you can either say Weigela or Weigela. The plant is actually named after a German botanist, Christian Ehrenfried von Weigel. So if you want to pronounce it with a V, you can do that. But no matter how you pronounce the name of the plant, it's a wonderful display of color exhibited in the mid-spring here. These tubular pink flowers, and it's a deciduous plant, meaning of course it drops its leaves in the fall. And here, when the leaves are in full force, the flowers are spectacular. The plant actually blooms on buds that were produced the previous fall. So we don't want to prune our Weigelas until immediately after they finish flowering. Right here we've got another little bit different variety, and you can see it's got darker pink flowers, and it's a little bit later as a lot of these haven't opened up. You can see we're going to have a wonderful show a little bit later on. I was out here yesterday taking photographs, and there were some large swallowtail butterflies all over this plant. And it's not uncommon to see a hummingbird out early in the year enjoying these plants also. Well, these plants are in the honeysuckle family, or the Caprifoliaceae. They will grow in pretty much any soil, but the better the soil you give them, the better they will perform. And the plants will reach a height of about 4 to 6 feet with an equal spread. Well, right over here is another shrub in the honeysuckle family, or the Caprifoliaceae, and this is the beauty bush. And its botanical name is Kolkwitzia amabilis. And the word amabilis means beautiful. So it's the beautiful bush, or we call it the beauty bush. And you can see why you'd want to plant one of these on your property. This multitude of little tubular, almost bell-shaped flowers. They have kind of fuzzy ends of the petioles, or the little peduncles where the flowers arise from. And you get this wonderful pale pink color, and the throats of the flowers are also attractive. You kind of get this yellowish orange kind of webbing effect down inside there. This is a large plant, as you can see here. They reach a height of about 10 to 12 feet, and it's good to have a lot of room to grow this plant. And that's because they don't really appreciate being pruned. About the only pruning I think I would do to the beauty bush would be to maybe come in and remove some of these lower limbs. That way you can see into those trunks, and you can grow it then as a multi-trunked small tree. And by growing it that way, you'd be able to appreciate the beautiful peeling bark that the beauty bush has. Now, we don't want to confuse this with the beauty berry, the plant that we were pruning on our program a few weeks back that has beautiful purple berries in the fall. But the beauty bush, wonderful addition to the landscape. Give it plenty of room so it can reach its wonderful growth habit and mature height. The new season always brings lots of visitors to our studio garden, and we were very fortunate this morning. We had a group of scissortail flycatchers, our state bird, stopping by for a visit. We're always glad to see those here at our garden. Well, the next plant I want to show you is right here, and this is the Slender Deutzia, blooming here in the middle of spring. And the plant has some flowers open now, these little white, very clean, white-colored star-shaped flowers. And there are also lots of buds that haven't opened up yet. But there's so many of these in these little clusters along the stems. Kind of gives the shrub a lacy appearance. Well, the Slender Deutzia doesn't bloom for an incredibly long time, but I still think it's very well worth growing because of the compact nature and these smaller leaves. A good candidate for the shrub border. The Slender Deutzia is in the hydrangea family, and there are several different species of Deutzias, and some even have pink flowers. Few shrubs can match the floral display of the Chinese snowball bush. This is one of our showiest of the viburnums. Oklahoma has 2 native species of viburnum, but this species is a wonderful introduction from Asia. Just look at the size of these inflorescences. These huge flower heads kind of remind me of hydrangeas. It's a beautiful white color that just makes an incredible display in the landscape. As you can see, it's a fairly large plant, so you could grow it as a large shrub or a small tree in your garden. The hardiness listing for the snowball bush is actually zone 7, but as you can see, this one's doing fine here in our zone 6 garden in Stillwater. It doesn't get any supplemental irrigation in the summertime, but it is protected by from the hot afternoon sun by these large pecan trees in this part of our arboretum. The plants don't produce any seed after the flowers have finished, so there's not an extra amount of color there or interest, but a wonderful addition, I think, to our landscapes with these immense white flowering heads. The last plant I want to show you is not really a shrub, but a somewhat vigorous twining woody vine. And this is the chocolate vine. And this plant has another name, the 5-leaved Akebia. And if you look at the leaves here, you actually see a compound leaf with 5 leaflets. And the plant's botanical name is Akebia quinata, meaning 5-leaved. And so you get these 5 little leaflets here. They have kind of a rounded end with a little bit of a notch in the end of the leaf. And these are semi-evergreen, and that means they, of course, will drop their leaves if we have an extremely cold winter, and the amount of leaves they retain just depends on how cold it gets. The flowers of the plant in amongst the leaves, you can see right up here. It's kind of a purplish brown color that obviously reminds someone of the color of chocolate. They don't really smell like chocolate. They have sort of a spicy aroma, but flowers that you're not really going to notice from a long ways off, but you get up close to the plant and you're sure to make a wonderful discovery. Well, I hope that you take time this spring to notice some of these mid-spring flowering plants.